We're gonna make some noise. Y'all make some noise for the one and only Miss Jamila. Hey.
My name is Jamila. Thank y'all for coming out. Welcome to Lay It on the Line. Um, Let me just put this disclaimer out. My co-host is running late today. Unfortunately, he is a truck driver and there was some bad weather on the road. So he'll be joining me hopefully before the show is over, right? But anyway, like Bunkay said, with Lay It on the Line, my goal for having my own podcast is basically to let the world know that all the stuff that we see in the media right now with like a lot of negativity, you see like the back and forth with the women fighting each other, flipping tables, sleeping with everybody. Man, oh, women ain't shit, men ain't shit, all this type of stuff, right? That's not what this is about. Like a lot of times in our community, we don't get counseling, we don't seek help, we kind of wallow in our misery and we suffer in silence. And I just want this to be a safe place. Like I have a group on Facebook, it's a Lay It on the Line group. I encourage people to join that group. If you have any issues that you're dealing with in your relationships, in your family life, with your children, with starting a business, it's all about trying to help the next person. If I have information that I can share, I want to share with anybody. Like if you have a business and you're struggling with your business and you want somebody to, hey, I need help with promoting my business. Here I am. I'm going to support you. I want y'all to support me. I'm going to look for ways that we can increase our business, how we can do better and uplift our community. So that's what I'm all about. I'm all about like helping, encouraging, uplifting, and giving out advice like from a personal standpoint. So with me and Miles, that's my co-host, what we tell people all the time, we're not licensed therapists, but we street therapists, right? Street therapists, we're going to tell you about the real deal. It's something that we went through. They might say, oh, well, you can't tell me about a relationship. You can't tell me about marriage. You're not married. Well, both of us have been married. So one thing we can tell you what's going to happen if you do this and that, that's going to cause you to get divorced. Right? You want to avoid that if you're trying to stay married. So what better advice to get from somebody that has actually experienced it, that can tell you, well, this is what I did, this is what I learned, this is what I took from that experience. Because when you go to counseling, a lot of times they're listening to you so that they can identify the problem. But that therapist that you're going to see, sometimes they might haven't actually walked in those shoes. I've walked in those shoes. I can tell you what I went through. I have a lot of friends that come to me and they talk to me about things and I listen. And I can tell you maybe I didn't experience it, but I heard what they said and this is what they felt. And this is what helped them overcome that hurdle. So tonight, because of the dedication that we have for Romy's brother, we're dedicating the show and we're going to talk about grieving. We're going to talk about being a widow, how you get past certain obstacles when you're dealing with moving forward in life after you've lost somebody. And if you guys have feedback, if you have comments or questions, we have, Romy, do we have an extra microphone? All right, so if you have something that you want to say, feel free, like raise your hand and we'll get the microphone to you and you can say what you have to say because maybe you have something that you can share. Like I said, I like to listen too. So maybe you can tell me something. Maybe I'll say something and you be like, I don't understand. All I ask is that we respect each other. We're not going to disrespect. We're not going to say anything to tear anybody down because it's all about building. All right, so the first topic that I had before we get started, I'm sorry, you had a question back there? Oh, you were saying you was ready? We ready? All right, so with the podcast, a lot of times we start with hot topics. And I kind of want to go with hot topics before we get into our main topic, just to give my co-host some time to get here. Today, hot topics. I know a lot of you guys probably have been watching the Club Shay Shay. Y'all seen the interview with Monique? You didn't watch? It was like a 2-hour interview. I understand if you didn't watch the whole thing. Yeah, I liked Cat Williams. His was good. All right, so with Monique, a lot of people are talking like her and her son, they're going back and forth on the internet. And a lot of times people tell you like you shouldn't put certain things out on the internet, keep your business at home or whatever. But the one thing that I wanted to bring up, because like I say on the show, we talk about relationships a lot of times. One thing that I noticed that a lot of people are really tripping with Monique about is that her husband is speaking for her, or they feel like her husband is speaking for her. And on the Club Shay Shay show, when she was talking about the things that she was experiencing with Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, she felt like they was taking money out of her pocket by saying that she was difficult to date. Not to date, but difficult to work with, right? And just taking that scenario, I want to talk about like in the business industry, like when you go on a job, and I'm speaking from like our community as black people, it's specifically black women. When you're on a job, a lot of times you feel like you're afraid to ask for what you know that you're worth. It's time for a promotion, or you're applying for a job and you know that what they're asking for, you know that you deserve more money than that. And a lot of times we don't ask for more money because we're afraid that they're going to pass us over and not give us that money. And she was talking about on the shows, just like with Taraji Henson, like in the media, they say that a lot of black women that are actors, they're not getting paid the same amount of money as the men actors are making. They're not getting paid the same amount of money that the white actress are making. And that's not fair. But you know what the problem is? We don't open our mouths and we don't speak up for ourselves. We just accept it. So like with the women on The Color Purple, they just accept it like, well, I've never been in this role before. It's just a privilege for me to work for them. So then they just accepted the little crumbs that they gave them. They didn't have a nice space for them to change clothes in. And it took somebody to step up and say, hey, I deserve better than this. So how many of you guys can remember a time that you made taking a job position and you knew that you deserved more, but you was scared to ask because you didn't want to lose the opportunity of getting that job? Has anybody experienced that? What made y'all feel like, don't say nothing, just get what they give me? You might lose your job. But if you're doing your job well, why do you think that you're going to lose your job? Say that again. The management. Let me give you this piece of advice. If you know that you're doing your job well, then you deserve what you're supposed to get paid on that job. If you don't ask for more, they're not going to give you more. Because me as a boss, if I know, especially if I'm not a really good boss with more morals and integrity, if I can pay you $50 to do a job, but I know that you deserve $100 for doing this job, but if you never asked me for that $100, why would I offer you $100 if you're okay with taking that 50?
So our lady here has been waiting to jump in on this. Tell us.
Okay. Well, that's the subject. Um, Actually, I worked for the Men's Warehouse, for like 15 years. And I worked in tuxedo rental. That was my specialty. But also, I had to learn how to sell men's clothing, even measure them for coats and pants and so forth. So, of course, I felt like I needed a raise, because I was doing double work as being the manager still, but actually an operation manager, which was for tuxedos. But here's the main thing: only once a year, we was up for a raise, so we had to basically wait until that time came. Even though, and even so, maybe 6 months into the position, we're like, I'm broke and I'm doing all this work.
Yeah.
And then once the time came, we're hoping for a certain amount, but it's not given, so that was my situation.
Right. And that really sucks. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. I've dealt with that on a job before because a lot of times they have a budget that you have to stay in, but everybody has to have a review. And on a review, they want to know, am I on target? Am I above target? Am I below target? So if you've been working your buns off and you know that you're above target and you're not getting the raise that you deserve, now it's time to look for a different position because you've exceeded this role. So now that you've exceeded this role, you can either let your employer know that if they value you, they're going to have to go within that budget. If you can't give me a raise, then you can give me a bonus. And if you can't give me a bonus, now it's my time, my job to go and look for me something else because now I've exceeded. We shouldn't get comfortable where we are. just because somebody say I can't pay you more. So if you're comfortable and you feel like this is good enough for me and I feel like I deserve better, now I need to go above and beyond and I need to go somewhere else and I need to expand where I am. Yes, Miss Third Ward.
Right, the tray. Get it right.
I just wanted to say sometimes it's not always about being afraid to ask for the raises. You can ask for the raises and still be denied. I worked in a company for about 10 years. I really enjoyed what I did, so I didn't mind doing what I was doing, but you know when you should be elevated to a different level. You
Yes.
go to them and you speak to them about it. But when you're in a good old boy situation where they're not looking for us to level up
Yep.
or be in those high positions, you really don't get those opportunities. So what I did, I removed myself from the situation,
Go on and snap for, because that's
right?
what you have to do.
I removed myself, leveled up for me, and got what I deserve as an
Yes.
employee. So
Yes.
it's not always about being afraid. Sometimes you can make those decisions to ask them, and then you still get denied.
And then that's when you have to decide, I deserve
Yes.
better, and you need to go to the next level because you've already excelled where you are. And a lot of times we get comfortable in our roles, like I'm doing this job, it's easy, it come easy for me, and I could do this job with my eyes closed. You can do that job with your eyes closed, but again, you know that you want more money. You can't expect them to give you more. You're not even doing more. You just coasting where you are. So if you want better, you have to do better. And I think that's really great that you saw that you deserve more and you put some work into yourself. Like it's time for me to move up and move on because I need to do better. I appreciate that. That was good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. But back to Monique. That interview was just it was a lot. It was a lot of information, a lot of tea that was dropped in that interview. Um, Out of the minutes that you watched in the interview, what was the main thing that you took from it?
Because it was long as hell. But what do you want to talk about, though?
So I didn't really like watch the whole interview. I just saw clips of it, and I think one of the clips that I saw was her saying that she looked at Taraji as a little sister. She said she also noticed that a few years ago when she said the exact same thing, nobody said anything. Everybody was like, "Oh, well, she big and black. She just need to be lucky that she even in a role."
Yep.
And then soon as Taraji said it, it shook everybody. Everybody like, oh my God, they not getting paid that much. So it shows that the whole light dark skin thing or big and small, it's definitely still important.
It's definitely still an issue. And like she said, and Cat Williams kind of said the same thing, it's really about the messenger. A lot of times somebody can tell you something and it could be relevant. It could be the right, perfect information that you need, great advice. But because of who it's coming from, you're not trying to hear it.
Or the package is coming from.
The packages, absolutely. And what she was saying as far as like about like image and how you look, Monique, we all know that she's been like a big, beautiful woman her whole career. She's always been beautiful. She's always had an outstanding personality. But the problem that they have with her is you can be all those things, but you better not say things the truth. You can't speak the truth. Sometimes you got to keep your mouth closed because nobody want to be told what's right and what's wrong. And when she started standing up for herself, it's like we're going to respect you until you start asking for respect, until you start saying that you deserve this, because people want to try to keep you on a certain level. You should just be thankful that we allowed you to even come to this party because you this big person. And the thing that hurt her feelings and why she's asking for this apology from Oprah Winfrey is because she said that as a young girl, I looked up to Oprah Winfrey. She was the only person that looked like me on TV. She said in her family, she's the only big girl in her family. She's the only one that used to sneak snacks to the room. So, just imagine, I don't know how old you guys, this audience is, but for me, when I was younger, it wasn't a lot of plus size people in school. You can probably count on your hand how many big girls there were. So just like back in the day, for us dark skinned girls, it used to be a sin to be dark skinned. Act like y'all don't know I'm telling the truth. For me, if somebody wanted to get in like a roasting competition with me, they could never say I was ugly. They could never say I was nappy-headed or bald-headed. They could never call me fat. But guess what? They could call me a black African booty scratcher. Because it was just like, you're ugly if you're black, if you're dark skinned. But I used to get, oh, you so pretty to be black, as if being black was contagious, you know. So for Monique, it's because she's fat. You should be glad that you're able to grace my stage, you know. You should be glad that I'm giving you $1 million to do this Netflix special, even though I gave another person that's on the same level as you $17 million to do this special. But I'm only going to give you this one. And because you're asking me for more, because you know that you deserve more, now I'm going to label you as difficult to work with. And a lot of times, go ahead, ma'am.
May I interject an opposing viewpoint?
Go ahead.
Just for the sake of conversation, if you will, right? So she was saying that she deserved more for her Netflix special. How many people have seen her Netflix special once it did come out?
I did.
How many people liked that Netflix
I
special?
loved it. I just didn't like all the curse words.
Okay. All right. And we have a hand over here.
I actually enjoyed it.
It was not funny.
Okay, so for me, I want everyone to consider, right, that she's an actress. No matter who she looked up to, no matter how she looks, she did a great performance in Precious, which is where this all started.
Yes.
When you don't want to go do the promo, maybe white actors get paid for that, but everybody doesn't. They promote the movie to make more money, and that gives them equity and more money, right? So I feel like sometimes this may be about capitalism. And I think that other people are not considering that. At this time, I do understand there's still racism and whatnot, but right now, green is the most important thing, and really it's gold. So start investing in that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think that we're just not, she's been complaining about this, right? And it's not because it's not like I do it. I harp on something, it means something. I feel the passion. I do understand. I did stop watching Netflix. I did that. And I was grandfathered in since 2004. So I wasn't paying what y'all pay. I stopped it. I do understand where she was coming from. I understand that she did not have to go and promote anything. It was not, sometimes you do it for the bigger purpose, and the bigger purpose was to sell that movie. So now Taraji P. Henson came out, right? And I wouldn't even say she's on that same level that Monique has been on in her career.
Yeah.
I will agree, I was disappointed in what Whoopi Goldberg said. I was disappointed in what Oprah did. I'm disappointed in Tyler Perry. I'm definitely disappointed in Steve Harvey. And he lost his show for having no integrity and saying it out loud in front of the people.
Yeah.
That laugh track was a laugh track. People wasn't laughing about that. It wasn't okay.
Yeah.
So I feel her.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do have to play the game, especially the game that she's playing. And so, Sydney aside, because that's a whole different story.
I want to talk about that too, because that's another issue that we have in our community, and that's just on the husband and wife part.
We can, but when your husband is your manager and helping with your business, but also strong arming to protect her, it's not protecting her. We have to take another approach here. As black people, we have to take another approach because this is business.
Okay, but let's just say with business and with your integrity.
There's a lot to unpack.
It is.
Capitalism, the marriage, the husband manager.
Right. But let's just,
you trying to take my motherfucking job?
let's just go back for a minute. Let's just go back for a minute. We're talking about, like, she's an individual. You saying that she should do promotion. So I watched the whole 2-hour interview, right? And she was saying in the interview, in her contract, what she was paid and what she was obligated to do. In America, she was supposed to promote. She did an amazing job promoting Precious. Now that she served her contract, she did everything she was supposed to do. She promoted. She made all the money that she was supposed to make. Like she said, she has children. She has a husband. She has another job that she's acting on, right? And then you're asking her, hey, you did such a good job. We want you to come over and we want you to promote this in another country. I think it was Canada or something like that. But they didn't want to pay her. They was like, oh, we're not going to pay you to do this promotion, but you want me to work for free. So why is it okay for you to want me to work and promote and I'm not getting paid for it? I've already made my money for this movie.
But sometimes my aunt went the extra mile.
But that's not what she wanted. That's what they wanted for her.
That's fine, but sometimes in corporate America, they call that problematic. The word gets out.
Yeah.
It does not matter. The word gets out.
But it was like two people that said that she was difficult to work with, that made her problematic, that took money out of her pocket.
Other people see that she didn't want to go and do promotions. So that next movie that they may have asked her, okay, we're going to pay you to promote.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw you didn't go the extra mile for
to work for free.
Brothers and sisters. Even that is volunteer. We've done it, and that extra mile caught somebody's eye, and we got to step up.
Yeah.
We got another opinion back here. She's dying to chime in.
Come on, don't die, don't die.
Hey y'all. This is a lot to, right? This is a lot to unpack. I enjoy when current events and hot topics allow us to have in-house conversations. And what I believe it's supposed to do is supposed to put up a mirror to us individually and as a community. One thing I like to say to my clients is, black people claim to hate slavery until they're in a position to be a slave master. I'm going to say that one more time.
Say it again and say it with your chest.
Black people claim to hate slavery until they're in a position to be a slave master. There's no reason why I should walk in a room, in a restaurant, or to a set full of people that look like me and get treated as if there was no one in the room that looked like me. That gut check Monique is presenting is gut check that Kirk Franklin brought, Barack Obama brought, Leandra Johnson brought. Everybody's not here to sit at the table and be cute. Some of us are meant to shape the damn table. And I thank her for that, because how many times, it's mostly women in this room, how many times have we been called aggressive?
Yeah. Just because you asking for what you deserve.
How many times have we been called problematic, hard to work with, whether it's personal, friendship, family, professional, just because we had the testicular fortitude to open, testicular fortitude, yeah. Just because we felt good enough about ourselves as human beings to say, hey, this is not okay.
Exactly.
Hey, I don't like this. Hey, I deserve better. So it goes back to what I said earlier. We hate slavery until we in a position to be a slave master.
Yep.
Because why do I just have to shut up and sing? Shut up and dribble. Shut up and dance. Shut up and fuck. Shut up and clock in. So as we are watching Monique, and I see the comments, I see the feedback, I see a lot of us slipping down that slippery slope of being for us and then being for capitalism, being for the rhetoric we've been taught and the stuff that's been passed down. Oh, just be quiet on you, talk too much, you're making too much noise. She's supposed to make some goddamn noise. She's supposed to.
And just because she wanted to spend some time with her family, not go overseas and promote a movie that she had already promoted, that she had already fulfilled her contract for, how does that make her problematic just because she don't want to work for free and she want to spend some time with her family? That's the part that I didn't understand.
That's not it.
That's basically what she was saying.
That's what she's saying. What I'm saying is,
I don't know if anybody would agree with me when I'm about to say what I'm about to say. But I heard about the whole story and I watched it all. And I think that the story about Monique is $1 million story. It's something that I don't know what the life is of everybody here. But we don't know what that's about. We don't know what she's going through. But what I'm saying is that all black actors has been through this since the 1800s, not getting paid, but they're supposed to, walking through the back doors to perform, okay, like my lady Day. So what she's going through is what a lot of black actors are gonna have to go through. This is what she chose to do. And that's all it is to it, you know. We don't know about that kind of stuff. But it's more to it than what we think.
Yeah, and we don't have to know what it's like to be an actress and know what they go through, but you yourself, you have to know what you're willing to accept. And I respect Monique because she decides that, yes, she did lose some money, but I'm not going to let you walk over me. I'm not going to let you treat me less than what I deserve to be treated. And that's the part that I respect. And I don't like how they try to make her feel like, oh, your husband's speaking up for you. Who is supposed to speak up for you other than your husband? That's the problem with a lot of people in our community now. You have so many people that's about, you don't need a man for this and you don't need a man for that. You don't need nobody. You can do it all by yourself and be independent. Well, she has a man that just so happens to be her manager. And guess what? He's not going to let you sit there and disrespect his wife. He's not going to let you make her work for free. He's not going to let you sit here and say that she's difficult just because she know what she deserves and she's standing up for what she wants. One thing that she said in that interview, and it was at the end of the interview, and when I finished watching that interview, I was like, you know what? This just made me want to love on my black man that much more. Because she was saying, Oprah Winfrey came and made a comment, when I have a hard day at work and when I get home and I can't rest and I can't sleep, I call Gail. Now, if you gay, you gay. That's fine. We're okay with that. This is a no judgment zone. You know what I'm saying? But don't sit here and try to make it seem like it's normal or that it's okay for a woman who has a husband or who has a man in her pool house to call her home girl when she done had a hard day at work. Because what is your man there for? Why do you have a spouse? Even if you're a woman married to a woman, or you a man married to a man, when you have a spouse, why is it okay to call your home girl or your homeboy to help calm you down so that you can go to sleep at night? That's what your man is for. So for Monique, I commend her on loving her black man, for respecting her black man, for allowing her black man to take care of her, to protect her, to stand up for her when they was trying to drag her through the mud. Yes, ma'am, Miss Third Ward.
Yes, ma'am. I just accept what they give us because it's corporate America. It wasn't built for it to be that way. That's the way they created it to be.
Yep.
So we need to start standing up for us more.
Yep.
We need to start sticking together more as a people. Because the first thing is we go on these jobs and we yes sir, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. It's all good. I'm a yes ma'am person. I tell everybody yes ma'am, yes sir. You can be young and you still yes ma'am, yes sir. But it's about respecting ourselves and really understanding who we are as a people. We kings and queens. We've been taught to level down our black men and not to lift them up. We need to lift them up.
Yes.
So that they can be the support that we need them to be.
Exactly.
They come in this world feeling unwanted. So it's up to us as the black women to lift our black men up.
Yeah, I agree.
We have one more, Jamila, and you may want to transition to the next topic after this one.
Okay.
All
Did
right,
Miles
and our
make it
beautiful
yet?
lady in the back. Tell us your name when you get on the mic this time.
Danielle. Okay. So the first thing that's sitting in my mind is we in Black History Month, we celebrate the great people and pioneers that came before us, the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X. But then we have a problem with those of today who are pioneering and who are standing up. That's a little crazy. That's a little crazy to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought about Will Smith and Black Viv. When they finally had their sit down, he finally admitted that he did give her a bad reputation, and guess why? Because she did kiss his ass. Everybody on set was Will. She came to work, she worked, and she went home. But because she didn't run up behind him and treat him like everybody else was treating him, he took his mouth and started planting seeds about this woman to the point she lost her job and could not get another job. And that's what Cat Williams was talking about. These boys clubs, these girls clubs, these cliques, these higher ups.
These gatekeepers.
These gatekeepers. You have no idea. And if this is at somebody's doorstep in this room, praise the Lord. But you have no idea what it does to a person when you start affecting their money and their lifestyle and their purpose just to get a kiki with somebody.
Yep.
Just to stay in the room and just to stay applauded and welcome. You have become an enemy of your own people. There's nothing cute about that. And people will, and I'm going to end with this, people will say, well, it's just business, it's not personal. Let me tell you something. The moment your actions or words start to affect my money, my son, and my peace, that's real fucking personal.
Yep, and that was the problem that she had.
She will cut you. We all. I'm about to step away. I don't want no smoke. We friends, right? We friends?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, and it means that's exactly what she was saying. You know, word of mouth and the power of the tongue is really real, and that's another thing that like I say, with my podcast, I'm not gonna never try to tear anybody down. And one thing that I do really respect and I like about Monique, that I feel like she gets a bad rep, it's just the society that we live in today. She made a comment about how girls are going outside with their bonnets on their head. Think about back in the day. If you go back and you look at your grandparents' pictures when they used to take pictures back in the day, the men used to wear suits. The women were dressed very classy. They took pride in how they looked. But nowadays, you can go to the store and women have on pajamas. They wearing their slippers. They wearing their bonnets. And Monique is just saying, hey, my beautiful black queens, we need to take pride in ourselves. We need to care about how we look. We need to present ourselves better. And they tore her down. They tried to make it seem like she was a horrible person just because she's telling us how to demand respect for ourselves. Because if you see somebody walking around with their bonnet on in a public place like the Walmart or the grocery store or the airport, you know, you're going to be looking at them like, I know she didn't just come out the house looking like that. You know, so what's wrong with her teaching us and telling us you have to respect yourself? You have to respect your man. You know, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but our society has just gotten used to just getting up and going and not caring, not having no kind of reservation about themselves, you know?
I wonder if we have any gentlemen who want to chime in. And before we get into that, because we have some people walking in.
How do men feel about the women wearing the bonnets and the pajamas and the slippers at the store?
Oh, yeah, I can chime in on this. It's funny that you bring up that conversation. I had the exact same conversation with my local bartender. You know,
okay.
I go to a local bar, and I brought up something like that. You know, I brought up, like, I think it's respect level. You know, I think it's a matter of whether we gonna let the culture that they're building, that they're honestly building amongst our own community. I think it all starts like with the music and the influencers on what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. and you bring it up to people, and they instantly say, like, you're a bad person. You're bashing me. You're bashing, do you, boo, I do me, It's out of caring. I think a lot of people are trying to show, like, hey, we actually care about you. You shouldn't wear that, that dress, like, with your body all hanging out, or you shouldn't go out there with your do-rag on, or yeah, you shouldn't go out there revealing half of your body. It's not respectable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I think that they take offense. They instantly are in defense mode because
they don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah, they don't
So
got
what
a
do
lot
you
of
think
guidance
about
on
the
it.
women that you see that have the bonnets on and the pajamas? Like, what is the perception of a woman that goes out in public like that?
Me personally, the way I was raised, I mean, I see that and I say, oh, mama's not going to allow that in the house.
Right.
So I think it all starts at home. I think it starts at how that person was raised and who raised that person and what standards they were raised by. And a lot of these people, a lot of these young women that are doing things like that, they weren't raised the proper way at home.
Who raised you?
I think they lack the foundation of a home.
Right.
And
Some of them could have been raised right, and these kids nowadays, they just want to do what they want to do. Because I'm telling you, I have a son, and I stay on his tail, and I be like, you need to be presentable. I don't care if you're going to Taco Bell to work. You need to make sure that your uniform look nice on you, because perception is everything. And he'll walk out the house with some wrinkled pants on and some flip-flops like I ain't taught him nothing. And I look at him and be like, who raised you?
So I know your co-host is here, and then we have another gentleman back here who wants to.
All right, let him go.
You want to go?
You guys, welcome Miles. He finally made it. He's a big truck driver. He made it safe. All right, we're going to hear from another fella in the back.
Hi, my name is Brandon. I wanted to say, with these girls that you're talking about, I feel like the mothers aren't teaching their children, especially women, how to be women, how to present themselves as women, what kind of man that they should bring home, what kind of man to have a child with, what having kids is, and also what love actually truly. They're not being presentable themselves to teach and really let that linger on in our generation, especially for our females. So I feel like it all boils down to our parenting and, like you said, home, especially with the mothers and the women.
I like that. So let me ask this question before we go into like our topic of discussion tonight.
I'm sorry. I can't keep letting y'all back.
I'm sorry.
Women, and we not talking about how black men need to make sure they're presentable too.
Exactly.
It's not just us.
Hey, I did just say I got on my son. I have a son, and I tell him the same thing. But also, when you teaching your sons, like, you shouldn't be okay with accepting your girlfriend or your woman to go out looking like that. Because if you keep on accepting it, then they're gonna keep on doing it. They're gonna keep on doing it.
It's so simple. The standards that you want other people to have for themselves, you have to have that for yourself.
Exactly.
You cannot say, hey, you should do this and this and this, but you don't do it. That doesn't
Right.
make sense.
And that's what he was saying with the mom. So if the mama is going out, you know what? I saw this lady at the store the other day. I think I don't know, it could have been Walmart or Food Town or something, but the whole family had on bonnets. The mama had the bonnet on and the 3 little kids had bonnets on.
That's because they think it's cute because it's acceptable. It's a lot of people who accept that kind of
But she raising them kids up to be little hood rats. So we got to do better. But dads have to do better too, and dads have to stay at home. But like you say, parents need to teach their daughters the type of husbands to have, but fathers need to teach their sons the type of husbands to be. Because we're training daughters to be wives, but are we teaching our sons how to be husbands and fathers?
So speaking of husbands and fathers, because I know you want to talk about grief and widows.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, she was just helping us transition into our next topic. But Miss Lady up here, she was like, "You're not gonna keep passing me up," and I done had my hand up for 3 different conversations. But I appreciate that. We're gonna go into dating after the loss of a loved one, and you guys can still raise your hand, get the mic, and everything too. I did have something else that I had wanted to say about Monique, but I can't remember. But Miles, go ahead and introduce yourself to this nice audience.
Introduce myself. How y'all doing, fellas and ladies?
I'm named Miles. Um, what's up with it? You good?
It's on.
Yeah, I'm running a little late tonight, but it's all good. We're gonna give y'all the best show tonight. Best believe it. Got poetry, but a little about myself. I'm here just a co-host of my favorite cousin, sister right here. But we here just give you a show and tell y'all just give y'all some good pointers and ideas on how things should go in life and how things operate in life. Some of us agree, some of us don't. But at the end of the day, hey, nobody not perfect. So I'm not here to judge you from who you are, and I'm not here to say who you are by what you do. It's just action speaks louder than anything.
Right. So the first thing is it okay to date your friend's widow?
Hell no. Give me some money.
Say the question one more time.
Is it okay to date your friend's widow? I was watching, I stay on social media a lot, and I watch a lot of videos, and that's where I get a lot of my topics from. And it was a lady, and she was just talking about how she was married. I think her husband might have been in the military. Whatever his job was, he passed away. And when he passed away, the husband's homie, he would reach out to her. So a lot of times when we experience a death, you might lose a mom, dad, brother, sibling, or whatever, right? And when the death first happened, you get bombarded with these phone calls. Oh my God, I'm sending you my condolences. I'm so sorry. If you need anything, let me know. So the homie, he's steady calling and checking on to make sure she all right. But instead of him just checking to make sure she all right, now he trying to shoot his shot. I guess enough time had went by. And she felt like that was inappropriate. And he told her, well, I feel like that your husband, which was my friend, he would have wanted you to move on with somebody that you already knew, somebody that he knew, somebody that he trusts. So it's like, okay.
So her husband said from beyond the grave, busted wide open for my homie. I just want to make sure we all hearing the same thing.
I don't know if the dead husband told the homie that, but the homie felt like he knew his dead homie good enough to know my friend would want you to date somebody that he knew, somebody that he trusted. But she felt like, you out of line. This is disrespectful. You shouldn't be trying to holler at me.
That happened on those.
You want to say something?
Yeah. So I have two comments to that. First, there's actually a movie out about a best friend, a female. I guess she died or something like that, and I think her sister or play sister or best friend, she ended up dating her
sister boyfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
And like they literally built a life together, had a kid together, and what she didn't realize was the best friend or the sister was haunting her for doing that.
Oh.
But another thing I wanted to talk about too that actually happened to me, an ex-boyfriend that I was like really really tight with. I knew his best friend too, but I ain't really worried about him. So he passed away. Maybe not even a week later. He literally tried to. I'm like, dude, I loved him. What are you even thinking? So I don't think it's okay. I think it's weird. That means you were looking at me like that all this time, and you were just waiting for your shot. At this point, you was just in the cut. Like, man, I hope they break up because I'm trying to. Yeah, no, that's out of line. Out of line.
Well, it's rules to all of it.
Tell us the rules, Miles.
So me
from a man's point of view.
Well, you got to understand this here. Depend on the circumstances. Now, some people do tell they woman or tell their man, hey, if I pass, something happen, I like for you to date this person here. If that happened, then that's cool. But then, like you say, you got a lot of cats that will shoot their shot. So, but at the same time, you got females and dudes who will still turn around and do it anyway. Even they know that this was my best friend or this was my best, all that. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing they choose to do. It might have been the role they was playing in the relationship. But the thing about it is, would I do it? No, I wouldn't play it like that. Now, if it's somebody that he just kind of correspond, he's seen, and you don't know nothing about, then that's one thing.
That's one thing, right?
I done had somebody came to me with it before. Like, what's up with you? I know that, you and my dude, y'all ain't really know each other, but I'm like, nah.
I remember that situation.
But I'm cool though with him, so therefore, now, if I ain't really conversate with him, said nothing, that's one thing. But because even though we ain't hang out, but still because I know him in the present, and he was an I dude with me, then I'm not gonna cross that line.
Those are boundaries.
It's just a respect thing, and it's not even a respect for the other person, but it's a respect for yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
You respect yourself enough
But at the end of the day, it's all, everybody got their own choices on what they choose to do. Now, it's up to her or him to figure out if they want to do it. Now, us men, we going to go for it. They're just straight up what we going to do. We going to go for it. So it don't even mean nothing. But a woman is totally different. Some women, they don't care. But I knew a couple, they was best friends. The ladies was best friends. And when she died, when the best friend died, she ended up marrying her best friend's husband. Which I think they was already messing around because they was too cool with each other. I think they was having me messing
and
around.
And I think she killed the best friend to get the husband.
It might have, because
they all sound like murder mysteries to me.
Yeah. Because when I talked to him, she was like, yeah, we've been knowing each other forever. And I was like, y'all been knowing each other forever. I said, yeah, y'all messing around. But it is what it is. But I don't think you should. But each his own. You do what you want to do. If you feel it's okay with you, go for what you know.
Mm-hmm. So they also ask, how does grief affect relationships? And we're going to make this real quick because we don't want to go into our rhythm and poetry and cut it off because we have a lot of amazing artists for you guys tonight. But one thing that I wanted to say, when people lose somebody that's close to them and when we're dealing with relationships, one thing that I think people fail to realize, those hormones really come out when you lose somebody. And I don't know why that is, but I've researched it. A lot of times people make, I'm not going to say bad decisions, but they tend to make decisions. They do things that they wouldn't normally do if they wasn't grieving at the time. So if you are interested in somebody, allow that person time to heal. Allow that person time to actually go through the grieving process, because they might have sex with you because they're just trying to F away that sadness, that grieving, that hurt feeling. It's not even about you. So don't even play yourself in thinking, oh, he or she is going to want to be with me, because they just giving it up to you because they're trying to numb that pain that they're feeling. So when you are grieving or when you lose somebody, allow yourself time to actually go through that process and grieve. Even if you don't lose somebody by death, if they just leave you in a relationship, give yourself enough time to heal past that pain, and don't try to get under somebody else to make that pain go away.
So you're saying we shouldn't be getting it in at the repass?
Right. You definitely should not be getting it in. Quick, But you know what? I heard that's the best time as far as the physical.
It's the best sex and the best food.
It's the best time, best sex.
It is?
Food, but that's what I had heard.
Oh.
But mentally, it's going to probably be something that you really regret.
You also have to keep in mind too, if I'm dating somebody that used to be close to my,
they're going to probably date somebody else.
First of all, I'm going to be comparing you to them.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's going to constantly remind me that they're not here.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Right. It's a thin line, and I don't think that we should cross it. But you know what? Thank you guys for keeping me entertained while Mr. Miles made it here safely. I'm going to let him go ahead and close us out. And Miles, you know the question that we asked before we wrap it up?
What would you
One person.
That's all we need, one person though. What would you tell your old self, or your younger self, what would you do different than in today's time?
And let's get some, and we love you, sweetheart, we really do. All your insights have been banging. Yeah, but let's get somebody who hasn't touched the mic yet. So what is some advice you would give your younger self if you could go back in time? Y'all look good. Okay. Any advice you would give your younger self? No? Oh, your younger self already knew everything, huh? I'm here for it. Younger self is a genius. Oh, yes, a superstar. Wait a minute now, giving me Badu vibes. Tell us your name and what would your advice be?
My name is Rod, and my advice, I would tell myself that you're a tree, and just like trees that get cut down, they get used for many things, and they're spread all over the world, but the seed of their growth is rooted. It's always rooted in the ground. It's planted. So even though it hurts when a tree gets cut down, it's still rooted in the earth.
Okay.
It still belongs to you.
All right.
Rooted in the earth. She got poetic with it.
We'd like to thank y'all for tonight.
Clap it up for everybody who chimed in. Such a thought-provoking conversation. And again, this is the Lay It on the Line podcast. You can find Miss Jamila. Tell us where we can find you in the podcast, love.
You can find her on Lay It on the Line.
Okay.
Under Jamila
4950. IG is the same thing, lay it on the line, and Facebook.
Lay it on the line.
Yeah, same thing. And Facebook is the same thing as well.
Awesome. And you guys are going to check in with her before you leave to make sure you actually are following and you're tuned in, right? Because we're going to keep this conversation going. One more time for our wonderful host. Lay it on the line, baby.
Lay it on the line, talk through our problems. Let's try resolving them. Oh, should we even try? Meet me halfway, and I'll give you time. Oh, lay it on the line, show me your heart, and I'll show you mine. If we want this, if we need this, then let's lay it on the line. Settle down, let's try to talk it out. Let's figure out what all the fuss about. You had your turn, now it's mine.